Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus Brady and Luke Payton. In this video, we are going to be talking about the Derry versus Clare All-Ireland quarter-final in 2022. Derry were favourites to win this game. Many people were also pointing out that it might not be as easy as we thought it might be initially, but Derry put those assumptions to bed. A double score victory for Derry, 5-13 to 2-8, with of course massive scores coming through the Derry side. Shane McGuigan hitting a goal and 8, a goal and 7 of that from play. Benny Herron and Conor Glass both with 1-1 each, as well as Paul Cassidy with 1-1. Garrett McKinless popping up with another goal as well. Niall Loughlin and Conor McCluskey also chipping in with points. Derry, impressive. The only thing I'd say, Luke, is 13 points. As good as 5 goals is, in my opinion, you're not going to get 5 goals against Galway in the next round. Should the lack of points also be a concern for Derry, and what did you make of their performance in general?
First off, it's very hard to make anything really of that game. It was it nearly had an exhibition feel to it. Look, number one, it was a novelty enough pairing that, I think if you told somebody at the start of the year that one of the All-Ireland quarterfinals was going to be Derry versus Clare, they would have told you that you were mad. So the fact that this game was happening in Croke Park, I think it was a surprise to a lot of people, really kind of coming into it. And then the pattern of play in the start with we finished up with 7 goals, and it was a very strange pattern to the game. There was no real kind of flow to it. It kind of felt done as a contest at halftime too, and even the Derry goals, a lot of them as well, you couldn't even say that there was a pattern of play to it. It came from Clare mistakes or kind of them dysfunctioning and stuff, that the goalkeeper kicking the ball inexplicably over his fullback's head on a kick out, or all this sort of stuff. It's very hard to read anything into it. I think from Derry perspective, look, it's job done. They've a huge win from a big tally. They're in, anytime you win Croke Park is a big day as well. Might be a little bit concerned about the fact that they conceded what they did to a Clare side, that look, going forward, if they're to play, they're going into playing Shane Walsh and Damien Comer and Robert Finnerty, these guys, if the Clare forwards were causing them as much bother as that, that would be the only worry, I think, going into Galway the next day.
Yeah, agreed. But one thing that maybe they can take from it is, of course, this Clare side beat Roscommon, and Roscommon did cause problems for Galway, and they beat them twice this year. So Derry will kind of look at that and say, you know what, we beat Clare out the gate. Clare beat Roscommon, and Roscommon caused a lot of problems for Galway and beat them twice. I know that GAA math doesn't add up, and every game is a game in itself, and styles make fights, but it'll be an interesting one because obviously Galway had that epic against Armagh. Derry have kind of cruised through without really any cuts or bruises in this one, and Galway coming in have had one hell of a game against Armagh. The amount of players at the end of that game dropping down with cramp, and then you don't know as well, that brawl at the end, certain players could be suspended, certain key players could be suspended for Galway. You never know how things could turn out. So would Derry now going into this, would they be really happy with how the whole weekend has played out?
Well, look, I think they'd have to be. I think look, Rory Gallagher is probably spitting in his hands and rubbing them when he saw that fight going on at the end. So I think that I think it couldn't have worked out much better probably for them at the weekend. That everything that they could have asked for, I think, happened. Potentially, Sean Kelly might be out if that red card is held up. Maybe 1 or 2 others might be cited as well. Yeah, it'll be an interesting one to watch in that sense. I just found it funny though that how Derry up in Ulster, their defence was so tight and it was so kind of hard to break down, and they conceded 1 goal, and there was a real kind of fluky one against Donegal. And then they come up to Croke Park and they look much more wide open, and a pretty poor Clare attack kind of were well able to rip them open after Derry looked so good defensively throughout the entire Ulster Championship. So that's the thing, is I think that for all teams' systems and stuff, playing in provincial grounds, it's much easier to get a good defensive system in. But once they come up into Croke Park as well, a big wide open surface and pitch as well, if they were to play the likes of Dublin and Kerry, these teams have experience of picking teams apart in the big wide open pitches and the big days. And that's my kind of fear for Derry, is that I think they've had a great year, and I think that they're a really good side as well, but I don't think they can rely on their defence being as strong when you get up to Croke Park, because I just don't think it's possible to be as effective and get as the bodies back as quickly as they were able to do up in Ulster. And look, it's just too much ground to cover to be as good defensively for 70 minutes as what we've seen earlier in the year.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt provincial grounds do suit a more kind of tight battle style of a game, and Croke Park is definitely more open. I mean, the Kildare-Dublin game is a perfect, before and after. I mean, at a provincial ground, Kildare beat Dublin, and then in Croke Park, they get torn limb from limb. And I know like Conor O'Callaghan and players like that came back, but the gap between the two sides, the Croke Park factor was there in evidence again. Obviously then Clare, of course, what a year it's been for them. I mean, we're moving on from Derry now to Clare. Colin Collins, nobody would have predicted them to make it this far. And yeah, what a year for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's another year staying up in Division 2 as well. Every year for them has to be that kind of goal. And look, they can sit done, I think, 8 years in a row now, All-Ireland quarter-final. Like, it again, like, they couldn't have asked for much more, I think, from their year. And especially after, look, the early loss to Limerick as well. Like, I think that was a bit of a shock to them, that they probably would have backed themselves to win that game. So the fact that they bounced back from there, had a bit of a run as well. Look, it's a good year for Clare. And yeah, look, it was a pretty sobering enough way to lose, but they got to get out on Croke Park. And yeah, look, I think, look, they have a few interesting young players coming through as well. So look, hopefully they keep building it anyway, and I'm sure they'll be putting it all on the line next year now to stay up in Division 2 again.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see it. So our All-Ireland semi-final pairings then are Derry against Galway and Dublin against Kerry. They're going to be cracking semi-finals. And also there will be full previews coming for those matches here on Play on GAA. So make sure you check them out as well. That's the match review here, guys. It finished Derry 5-13, CLARE-2-8. Derry into the semi-finals for the first time in a very long time. So guys, make sure you like, subscribe, comment and share. It really helps us out. Until next one, take care.